All right, let's dive into Matthew chapter 15. This is one of those chapters that seems to start small but ends up sparking a massive revolution in how we think about what it means to be right with God. It's a big one, so let's get right into it.
So everything kicks off with what honestly looks like a pretty petty argument. But here's the question that really unlocks this whole chapter. How on earth does a fight over washing your hands end up changing the entire course of religious history? It seems small, but I promise you, it's not.
Okay, so the first part of our story sets the stage for a major showdown. And yeah, it really is a fight over dirty hands. Now you gotta understand, this was not just some casual disagreement. We're talking about the religious heavy hitters, the Pharisees and scribes, traveling all the way from the capital, Jerusalem, just to confront Jesus. They came looking for a fight over this specific issue.
And here is their big accusation. They basically demand to know, why are your followers breaking our traditions? Why don't they wash their hands before they eat? And listen closely to what they say. Our old traditions. Their focus isn't on a command from God, it's on these man-made rules they've piled on over the years.
So you've got this total clash of priorities right from the get-go. On one side, the Pharisees are completely obsessed with these external, man-made rules. Like their super specific rituals for hand washing. But Jesus just flips the whole board on them. He points out how they've created all these loopholes in their own traditions that actually let them break God's real commands, like the one about honoring and taking care of your own parents. And this argument over rules becomes the perfect runway for one of Jesus' most revolutionary teachings. He's about to completely redefine what it means to be clean in God's eyes.
Yeah, he doesn't pull any punches. He looks at these respected leaders and calls them hypocrites. And what I love about this definition here is how simple and powerful it is. A hypocrite is just like an actor wearing a mask. They look all good and holy on the outside, but what's really going on in their heart is something else entirely. And then he drops this absolute bombshell on everyone. He says, look, it is not the food you eat with unwashed hands that makes you spiritually unclean. No, it's what comes out of you. The words, the thoughts, the things that start in your heart. This just completely shattered the entire religious purity system they had built.
And he doesn't leave it vague either. He gets super specific. He shifts the focus from the outside to the inside. He says the stuff that truly separates a person from God isn't dirt. It's the stuff coming from within. Evil thoughts, murder, adultery, theft, slander. He's making it crystal clear. The real problem isn't what's on your hands, it's what's in your heart. Okay, so Jesus just laid down this huge, world-changing idea. But he's not just about talk, right? The very next thing that happens shows this principle in action. He demonstrates that God's grace is meant to cross any and every border. So he literally leaves Jewish territory and heads into the region of Tyre and Sidon. You have to realize how wild this was. This was Gentile land, a place that devout Jews would typically avoid. He is deliberately, intentionally crossing a massive ethnic and religious line. And while he's there, a local Canaanite woman comes up and begs him to heal her daughter. Now, Jesus tests her with this really challenging statement. He uses a common metaphor from that time. The children were the people of Israel, and the puppies, or little household dogs, were the Gentiles. It sounds so harsh to our ears, but it was a test of her faith. And her comeback is just, wow. It's absolutely brilliant. She doesn't get offended. She doesn't argue. She leans into the metaphor and says, "You're right, Lord, but even the little dogs get to eat the crumbs that fall from the table." She's basically saying, I'll take the overflow, the scraps of grace. And Jesus is just blown away. He calls her faith incredible, great. This is a level of praise he gives to almost nobody else in the entire story. And he certainly didn't give it to those religious leaders back in the last scene. And in that same moment, her daughter is healed. And the story doesn't stop there. This idea of grace for everyone just keeps rolling. He's still out in this mostly non-Jewish area, and a massive crowd has gathered around him. We're talking 4,000 men, and that's not even counting the women and children. And they're all hungry. So what does he do? He performs another miracle and feeds the entire crowd, just like he did back in Jewish territory. And the proof of the abundance, they gather up 7 huge baskets of leftovers. See, this isn't just a repeat story. It's a powerful statement that God's grace is more than enough for absolutely everyone, no matter who you are or where you come from. So, you put all these pieces together, the fight, the teaching, the healing, the feeding, what does it all add up to? Well, it's nothing less than a full-blown revolution of the heart. This chapter really boils down to a clear two-step revolution. Step 1, redefine holiness. Forget the external rituals. True purity, true cleanness comes from the heart. And step 2, expand grace. God's mercy isn't just for one exclusive club. It's available to anyone and everyone who has faith.
So if you remember one thing from this chapter, let it be this. The real heart of faith is not about a perfect performance. It's not about checking all the right boxes. It's about the genuine orientation of your heart, your inner self, toward God. And honestly, that shift changes everything.
And that really leaves us with a question for our own lives, doesn't it? If following a religious checklist isn't the main point, then what does it actually mean for us, right here, right now, to have a heart that is genuinely pointed toward God? What does that even look like?